Title: We were the ship that would not die. Section 1: We were supposed to be dead. They told us at Coral Sea that we were finished. No one said it directly, but you could see it in the eyes of the officers who walked our decks after the bombs hit. You could hear it in the pauses between sentences. Severe damage. Structural compromise. Months of repair. Months meant one thing: we were out of the war. USS Yorktown, broken, sent away to heal while others fought. Except that's not what happened. When we limped into Pearl Harbor on May 27th, we expected quiet, dockworkers, clipboards, long inspections, waiting. Instead, we got men running toward us. Admiral Nimitz stood on the pier, calm, still, watching us like a man studying a wounded animal and deciding whether it could still bite. Then the order came down. You have 72 hours. Not to stabilize. Not to assess. Not to prepare for towing. 72 hours to bring us back to life. We stared at the damage: twisted bulkheads, burned wiring, flooded compartments, systems that should never have been rushed. One of the chiefs whispered, "She's dead." Then he picked up his tools anyway. Because dead wasn't an option. Section 2: Resurrection. We worked without time. Sleep came in minutes, not hours. You collapsed where you stood, ate when food appeared, forgot what day it was. They ripped parts from other ships. They welded where welds had no business holding. They bypassed safety procedures that manuals insisted were sacred. We weren't fixing Yorktown properly. We were forcing her to function out of sheer will. By May 30th, they stood back and looked at us. She'll sail. Not perfect. Not safe. But operational. And when our engines turned over again, men just stood there listening to the sound, like they were hearing a heartbeat return. We left Pearl Harbor under radio silence. The Japanese believed we were gone. And every man aboard knew the truth. We were sailing as a lie. Section 3: Midway morning. June 4th. Dawn found us already awake, already moving, already knowing this day would decide everything. Pilots didn't joke much. They walked quietly, focused, like men who knew history was about to pass through their hands. We launched our planes. And then we listened. Radio traffic told the story in fragments. Hornet's torpedo squadron getting slaughtered. Enterprise's next. Then our own. Voices we recognized. Call signs we knew. Then silence. It felt like listening to friends disappear one by one into the ocean. We didn't know yet that their sacrifice was opening the door for something else. Section 4: The sky falls on Japan. Later, word filtered down. Dive bombers had found the enemy carriers. Akagi burning. Kaga burning. Soryu burning. 3 carriers in minutes. We didn't cheer, we didn't celebrate. We just sat with it. Stunned. Because we knew what it meant. The battle had turned. And the Japanese still thought we weren't here. Section 5: They found us. When the dive bombers came for us, there was no warning, no drama, just alarms and shouts. Enemy planes incoming. We looked up and saw them falling out of the sun. Bombs hit. The ship shuddered like a living thing in pain. Power failed. Compartments filled with smoke. Men screamed. Fires broke out. I thought, honestly, that this was it. This was the moment history corrected itself. Yorktown dies as expected. But then something strange happened. Damage control teams did what they'd done all week. They adapted. They rerouted. They improvised. They refused. Power came back. Engines turned again. We moved. Men stared at each other like they'd just watched a corpse breathe. Section 6, they sank us twice. The second attack came later. Torpedoes. This time, there was no miracle. Explosions tore open our side. Water rushed in. The list worsened. Systems failed for good. The order came. Prepare to abandon ship. We climbed into the water with oil on our skin and smoke in our lungs and watched our home die slowly behind us. Japanese pilots overhead radioed. Enemy carrier sunk. They believed it. They celebrated it. They were wrong. Because even as we floated there, we heard American planes still flying overhead. Still attacking. Still winning. Yorktown had already done her job. Section 7, the last breath. They tried to save her. Salvage crews came back. Pumps restarted. Hope returned somehow. Then the submarine found us. Torpedo hit Hammond. She exploded beside us. Another struck Yorktown. That was the end. On June 7th, she rolled gently and disappeared beneath the sea. No fire. No spectacle. Just silence. Like she'd chosen to leave quietly after making her point. Section 8, what we really were. Years later, historians would talk about Midway like it was numbers. Code breaking. Timelines. Carrier counts. But we knew something else. We were never just a carrier. We were a ghost. The Japanese built their confidence on our absence. They made decisions because they believed we were gone. They celebrated because they believed they had sunk us. Twice, our survival confused them, distorted their reports, warped their judgment. We didn't just fight their fleet. We fought their understanding of reality. And we won. Epilogue. Somewhere deep in the Pacific, Yorktown still rests. Planes still on her deck. Tools still in compartments. Corridors frozen in time. But she isn't silent. Not really. Because every time someone tells the story of Midway, every time someone asks how an empire lost its fleet in a single day,